Yes, 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 yes! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of It's Not That Deep, Bro. And we're back. Episode 30. That's right. The big 3-0. 30. We're close to that age, Jack. What do you think?
We've surpassed our own ages in episodes now, so
We have.
That's something to note. And yeah, 30, that's quite substantial.
It is.
I'm sure, in fact, I know for a fact that there is now enough content for you as a listener to listen to me and Martin for over an entire day. There's more than 24 hours worth of our voices available to people now.
Wow. That's a big goal, that is.
It is. I mean? You can really get a picture of who me and Martin are through our body of work at this point.
That's right.
But let's add another one to the
list.
to the ranks. Yeah, let's do it.
Why not? Right, for
So Martin,
the new people that are listening,
oh, here we go.
we've got the Randy Master 4000 to help us randomize every film that we watch from now on.
The trusty tool that allows us to randomly select an entry from the grand list of films that we choose our our films from.
That's right, and don't you fucking forget it.
I believe it's my turn to press the button. So without further ado, Martin, can I get a countdown?
We're going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the film we are watching is
American Graffiti by George Lucas.
Wow, George Lucas.
Yeah, George Lucas, man, 1973.
That it was. So this is before.
This is pre
Star Wars.
Well, let's 100%. Something tells me Star Wars was 1970, but I could be really
77, wasn't it?
Oh, see, you're probably that sounds right, man. That sounds correct. Star Wars, 77. You're right. So this is 4 years before Star Wars.
I thought so. 77, 79.
I don't know. It'll be and then Return of the Jedi's probably in the 80s. But yeah, this will be interesting, man. He made a couple of films before he started doing the Star Wars thing, and they're all quite different. And this one, I think,
does it have to do with anything with space?
I think this film's going to be more like Dazed and Confused than it is Star Wars.
Oh, right. I'm excited.
Put it like that. I don't know too much about it.
I did like Dazed and Confused.
So that's the vibe that I'm aware that this film kind of gives off. So, yeah, get yourself a copy of American Graffiti and any sort of condiments that you might want to supplement your experience. Get yourself in a nice, comfy position and get ready for American Graffiti.
Thank you, guys. It's not that deep, bro. Well, hello again. We've just finished watching American Graffiti by George Lucas.
1973.
1973. What do you think?
You know, that movie really warmed my heart.
Yeah, it was a good story. We haven't had one of them in a while.
It's like
it was wholesome.
Straight up snapshot of the late 50s, early 60s. You know, you get it's like 24 hours in a time period.
It's that whole time I was like, these kids are rich as fuck.
Well, they're all middle class and white, yeah.
Like, all of them have cars, except for that one guy. And they just all got like money to drive them around all night
and do nothing. Yeah, well, I mean,
and do nothing.
Petrol back then would have been
so cheap,
like chicken feed, like that sort of cheap. And they're all either graduating high school and going to college, and it's that, end of the semester sort of vibe where everyone knows one another, and it's bittersweet because it's like the best of times and the worst of times because everyone's leaving, but it means everyone gets to like celebrate and for the last time. It's always weird when all your friends go off to uni and you come back at Christmas and you see one another, but it
doesn't feel the same.
It's not the good old days, is it?
No,
It's talking about the good old days.
Yeah.
But
let's find out. Go on, look it up. Was this based on a true film?
Well, yeah, we get a little bit of information about the characters at the end of the film that would lead one to believe that this film has some grounding in reality. So let's have a gander.
They must be so old by now.
American Graffiti, 1973. Set in Modesto, California in 1962, the film is a study of the cruising and early rock and roll cultures popular among Lucas's age group at that time.
I don't.
Well, yeah, you don't, which is why I'm looking.
Yeah.
I think what the situation seems to be... Oh, okay, 100%. So those character bios, it's not based on a true story.
It's not.
Those character bios at the end are simply to tie up narrative ends.
Oh, so I see. Okay, all right.
Yeah, and the Steve is actually played by Ron Howard, who...
Ron Howard?
Yeah, I don't want to just get this wrong. Who directed Solo, the Star Wars film.
Han Solo.
Yeah, or just Solo, the one that came out. Known for the Da Vinci.
Steve?
Yeah, the Da Vinci Code he made.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he was very young in that film. I've never seen him that young. Richard Dreyfuss played Kurt Henderson, who is known for... Oh, we've seen him in Close Encounters.
I knew I seen him somewhere.
Yeah,
I knew
he's in Jaws. So he's very well known.
I've not seen Jaws.
You not seen Jaws?
No.
That'll be interesting, man. What did you think of that film?
Like I said at the beginning, very wholesome. The whole like aesthetics of it seems like every person is a good person in that film. There were no bad guys. Everyone sort of like had a role to play in the whole night that was happening.
It didn't get dark.
It didn't. No.
Really,
kept.
There were hints of it and whatnot, and some.
Especially when what's his name, Milner.
Well, you don't know if John Milner. He's an interesting character because obviously, like, he comes off as the jock, the cool, the guy who thinks a lot of himself, and he turns out to be quite a genuine guy, I think.
Yeah. By the end, I feel like it's more because of the fact that he spent that whole night with that younger girl, so he sort of had to had a
It was a different night for him.
Elderly brother sort of vibe. Do you know what I mean? So like he protected her throughout the night. Then sort of like at the end thought,
well, he gave her. She was being stubborn, in the sense that she wanted a bit of adventure that night, but then at the same time, kind of wanted it to be on her terms, and he read that situation very well, and he, gave her a little bit of what she wanted, a bit of attention.
Yeah.
But then instantly
she regretted it.
Well, yeah, he gauged her response and said, "Well, let me take you home then." Sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that, I guess, is quite a sign of emotional maturity from a character who could be just like a hot-headed jock that, has no morals and all the rest of it. Like, you remember Dazed and Confused? It was quite a while ago we watched it.
Yeah, I mean...
it's like Ben Affleck's character in that, but a good guy. Ben Affleck in Dazed and Confused just plays a complete cock. With no, he's not humble at all, or he's just very obnoxious. And John Milner walks that tightrope, but manages to come off a lot more likable. He's almost like the main character of the film in a sense.
Yeah, you see a lot of him compared to like other characters.
He's got a bit of like a cowboy vibe, like the ranger of the town. Everyone knows John Milner.
Yeah, everyone knows him.
It's
even them people that were holding Kurt Henderson.
The Pharaohs.
Yeah, the Pharaohs. Even them, they're like, oh, John is gonna beat him or whatever. He should have then said, I know John Milner. What are you doing?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He probably should have said that. But at the end, even then, that's like another time with the Pharaohs where you're kind of worried for Kurt and what's going to happen to him.
Yeah.
But he kind of has a decent night with the Pharaohs, all things considered, how it could have gone.
Yeah.
Put him in a few tough spots.
But he's now in the Pharaohs.
But he's now a member. But then I question the legitimacy of maybe the Pharaohs do just want other people like them, and you have to do something that's going to incriminate you to be a member. But then I also just questioned whether the next day they'd just bully him again. You know what I mean?
I don't think so, because it's part of their group, and if they're like, they get
and the next day they'd
new
be
member.
like,
well, if they get a new member and then they just bully him, then there's
well, I could imagine them just being like, you thought you could be a tunnel snake. You thought
a pharaoh. What's a tunnel snake?
They're from Fallout. I was going to bring them up earlier. I was going to bring them up a second ago. It's on my mind.
Oh my god.
The pharaohs remind me of the tunnel snakes.
Wow.
Tunnel snakes rule. But I was questioning whether the next day they'd be like, you think you've got what it takes to be a pharaoh, and then just wedgie him or something like that. And
nah, I don't think.
Well, you'd hope for Kurt's sake that
yeah.
now he has some perks of being a pharaoh.
They wouldn't let him go if it was like that.
Because well, I guess it depends how they view him. Because like Terry, that his name, Toad, Terry.
Yeah. The glasses guy.
Yeah. I feel like that would happen to him. Like they'd mug him off, but they might respect Kurt a little bit more. That's another good point with John Milner, that he still bullies Toad and Terry to an extent, but also has his back.
Yeah,
completely, which is another sign of like a good individual. It's like, no, that's the kid I bully. You can't bully him.
But that whole. Obviously, throughout the film, you see what each character has gone through that night. And I feel like Toad is the most, like, controversial ending to his, like, little story compared to, like...
He has a decent night.
He does,
all things considered.
Yeah.
It's one of those... I'm going to find myself saying that a lot, I think, all things considered, because...
What gets me is... Obviously, at the end of his like sort of story, she goes, "Oh, if I'm not doing anything tomorrow, call me." She didn't leave a phone number, bro.
Oh
she
yeah, but
just
back then, it's a different deal. Like there's a telephone directory for the village. Like in the same way, there were lots of things in that film that could like never happen now. Like go into a radio station and be like, ring this payphone. My name's Kurt. I'm waiting for you. Shit like that. Like, you couldn't really do that today.
Yeah. Or like being at the airport next to the
plane.
The plane.
Although maybe you couldn't drive your cars up like they had, but there's definitely still times when you can be that close to like the plane and boarding. It's just like unique boarding circumstances.
Like what? No, but the way that they were doing it, it couldn't happen like that anymore.
You couldn't drive your cars up like they.
No, you couldn't do that.
No, and then the plane had propellers as well, which was like,
yeah,
fuck. Something I've really loved about this film, and it kind of relates to everyone knowing each other in this small little town.
Yeah,
is the radio was like a character in this film, because obviously you've got this Wolfman Jack character who again, I'm gonna talk about Fallout a lot in this episode because we have a common ground of enjoying Fallout, and there's a lot of
That's right.
parallels that can be made here. But he's the three dog of the situation, or Mr. New Vegas or whatever.
Freedom.
And they've done something to the radio and the sound, the audio mixing in this film to achieve this feeling that everywhere is playing the same radio station. So like the burger stand, all the cars, and because you can hear like 4 versions of it playing over the top of one another, which is incredible because that's what it would have been like. Everyone knows one another in this small town. They all eat the same food. They all listen to the same radio station because they all go to the same school. It's very, it creates this atmosphere where you don't even need to ask, are you listening to the Wolfman? Like, obviously you're listening to the Wolfman.
Of course, I feel like it was the only radio though, so like there was no other radio.
Well, yeah, you probably would have other radios, but it would be like maybe one for sports, maybe one for like a drama, a soap or something.
Yeah.
And the kids would find them all fairly boring. And then you've got the Wolfman like, like doing all that shit, and like that to the kids would be like the Shelley's sister. Yeah, Shelley's sister. I'm getting good with these names, man.
You are, man. You are.
Shelley's sister even says my mum won't let me, or my dad won't let me listen to the Wolfman.
Yeah.
So
she says that.
You know that it's kind of considered that after dinner naughty sort of show that would be on that the kids would find cool. And there was something about that was like my favorite part of the film, how it doesn't matter where you were, that radio station was playing, and it just continues.
The music in it though as well. Holy shit.
I mean, it had everything. It had Buddy Holly, it had Chuck Berry, it had Del Sharon, it had fucking the Beach Boys, it had Elvis Presley. I love. It's actually a nice middle ground because me and Martin, we agree on like some hip hop. That's like maybe the music that we'd talk about the most.
Yeah.
But then over time, over knowing Martin, I've found that Martin loves kind of 50s and 60s love songs and big band.
Yeah, that's right.
Orchestration, jazzier stuff. So, and that is some common ground we have with music. And
it's just the way it sounded back then. It was just.
We'll see.
It was all there.
Soon, with me releasing music, you will be able to see my love for that era of songs. But it's very. It's pure emotion in them. It's like sounds like love. You know what I mean? It sounds like
love is in the air,
or wanting, a longing, and all these men just wailing about how they feel about their one true love, with these beautiful instrumentations. It's adds to the whole bittersweet vibe.
Which story do you think you relate to the most?
Well, relate to?
I say relate. So like, is more relatable nowadays than back then.
If you're talking about the one that I instantly gravitated towards, like, which one do I identify with? Then it's a tough one. I mean, because Toad's Night is like a real. It makes you want to jump in the air with your fist in the air. It's like, yeah, he triumphed over what everyone thought of him.
Yeah,
which is nice to see. But then I do love John Milner's whole arc of, is he a dick? Is he not? You know, is he? And that was very interesting. There's not really a bad arc in this film. I thought Carl had a well good night. Ups and downs with the Pharaohs and trying to find this girl. And
who?
He has his ups and downs with the Pharaohs.
Yeah, but who did you say his name was?
Have I mixed Carl and Steve up?
Kurt. Yes.
Wow. Who's Carl?
Yeah, who is Carl?
Yeah, I thought Kurt had a great night.
Wow.
I think I liked that Kurt's night or Kurt's story ended kind of up in the air, literally. he was up in the air, but then he'd been questioning the whole film whether he was going to stay
or not.
and there was a lot of talk about that, whether it's better to become a John Milner of a place, you know, rooted in the same place, but everyone knows who you are and ascend to the top of your local patch, or whether to flap your wings and go on to greener pastures. And I suppose that's like the theme of the film, really. It's like everyone deciding. There's that whole little spiel that Laurie says about why do we grow up to and build a life with our family that we grow up with and then move to start a new one. It seems like such a waste of time. And I thought that was an interesting sentiment.
It's funny to like how you see Steve at the beginning of the film being so like affirmative to like, we're going, we have to go, we have to leave this town. And
and then also saying to Laurie, like, yeah, we should date other people.
Yeah,
trying to set this cocky situation.
And then
up.
by the end of it, he's just like, I'll never leave you now, stay here. And then Kurt is the one in the beginning going, I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go. But then he changes his mind to actually going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Another thing about this film that I sort of noticed throughout it, no swearing. Everything, like, they were hints of, like, swear words, but, like, they didn't sort of, like, go
you
with
didn't
it.
get
It's
any
like,
hard F's.
no, he was like, go suck a duck.
Yeah, we got go suck a duck.
Yeah.
You marblehead.
Yeah.
That was very...
every time somebody...
very of the era, that insult.
Every time somebody fucking tried to say something mean or whatever, they were always... using like...
We didn't get a shit even?
No.
Wow.
No.
I wonder what classification this film has. Like PG, 12. What would you reckon?
I'm saying PG.
You say PG. Let's have a gander. You can get away with a fuck in a PG film.
Can you?
Yeah, you're allowed a fuck. And it's got to be like... So like Bruce Almighty. That's a PG. And he says fuck in that. It's a big deal, films that say
just
fuck.
One?
Yeah, you're allowed one. But then I don't think you're allowed to say any other swear words in the whole film. I think it
no
like...
shit.
Yeah. I think it
rubbish.
It like fills up your quota. One whole fuck.
No dickhead.
It's actually quite difficult to find a
a
website that's going to tell me this. So it's an R-rated movie. It'd be considered like a 15.
What?
Yeah. You got to think it shows underage drinking.
It does, yeah.
It shows talk of like rape, and it shows like...
Oh yeah. It does say rape. Would you consider that
I wouldn't call it a swear word, but I'd also call it like not a word that probably people under 12 should be hearing too much about.
Mm-hmm.
But then I am looking...
It won't be PG.
So it's like maybe it was R-rated in America when it came out, but when it gets released on DVD today, it's a PG.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm seeing many different DVD covers with different ratings on here, to be fair.
So maybe they just put it over.
So maybe it's changed over the years since it's been out. Because like...
That's been out quite...
It's been out like 50 years at this point, and, you know, shit's changed since then. But you are right. It was very...
PG.
Innocent in its...
Just the whole... Like, even, like, all the colours and everything were, like... I feel like...
I mean, it's worth...
They were very centered towards kids, I guess.
I guess I'd say that this film was set pre the whole, like, pre-Beatles, basically. So music and the summer of love and psychedelia hadn't happened yet. You know what I mean? There wasn't sort of hippies yet. and people like that. So in Dazed and Confused, you've got like metalheads with long hair, and you've got sort of, I don't know, everyone in Dazed and Confused is like smoking weed all the time and whatnot, which is, it's the same tale. It's literally like the same as Dazed and Confused, the end of the school year, and it's that day being captured. But you see what the different eras are like, because pre like the Beatles happening, this is set in 62. It was a lot more of an innocent time. We hadn't been to the moon yet. You know, all sorts of stuff.
So you're saying past moon, landing on the moon, everything descended into chaos.
Well, if you look at the trajectory, but in this point, like, heavy metal music doesn't exist.
No.
No distorted guitars at all.
No.
Like, some of the music that you were hearing in this would be the Wolfman's radio show being a thing that you wouldn't tell your parents you listened to.
Of course
now,
not, 'cause
it's like
Wolfman.
PG
what?
stuff,
Yeah.
what the Wolfman was saying. But back then, that would have scared people. Would have scared parents and stuff. And
into turning their kids into some sort of
the
like.
devil. It was all very Christian back then
Junkie.
too. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was all about like
That's why everyone's wearing
crosses.
cardigan sweaters and crosses and shit. Yeah.
The girl that Toad's with, when he kisses her for the first time, or he goes to kiss her, and he kind of like pulls back, and you think that he's buggered it all up, but then she says, "Wait a minute," and she takes her crucifix off and then kisses him.
Yeah.
So there'd be a lot of guilt like that if you're like being raised in like a Christian family, and then the kids of the time being introduced into this culture that was happening, all the young people wanting to drink and dance and whatnot. You'd have to fight that in your head. Oh, I'm going against everything mum and dad have taught me and everything that they believe in, sort of thing. And that's what I'm saying. Kids don't care about that shit anymore. Back then, really would have considered that.
Yeah. It would have been a big thing because even obviously at the start they're like, "Look, we're not children anymore. We're young adults. We've got to."
Yeah, but that was just him trying it
Yeah,
on.
yeah, I know, but still,
they're all still just kids,
Mhm.
really, in that film.
What the person who played Toad?
Yeah.
What's he been in?
I feel like he's played other nerds. Put it like that. Let's find out.
Yeah.
He looks very typecast for the
Who
nerd
knows?
role.
Maybe this is his only role.
I would be very surprised if that is the case. So, it's not his only role. So this was his 5th film. He's called Charles Martin Smith.
Great name.
I'm just trying to find some films that you will have heard of. To which I'm not seeing a lot, Martin.
Have you seen any films that?
Not really. There's films that are on our list.
What are the latest films he's been in?
That's what I'm saying, man. You won't have heard of these films. Dolphin's Tale.
I've heard of Dolphin's Tale.
I've not.
Have you not?
No. It's about Winter, a bottlenose dolphin that was rescued in 2005 and taken into an aquarium. She lost her tail after becoming entangled with a rope attached to a crab trap and then was fitted with a prosthetic tail. And then he was in Dolphin's Tale 2. That was his next film. Which I'm assuming...
Are these delays? Are you going...
Yeah, these are like from... This is 2011, Dolphin's Tale 1. Then the next film he makes in 2014 is Dolphin's Tale 2.
Yeah.
Then 2019, he's in a film called A Dog's Way Home.
Right.
Oh, shit. He actually directed these films as well as starred in them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's directed...
Has he made some money with these films? Because some of them, no.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Based upon what I'm looking at here, he's directed a lot of TV movies.
That seems shit.
I'm not one to comment. We've not watched, Charles Martin Smith's directorial output.
True.
But no, he doesn't actually seem to have played many other nerds, which surprises me because he fit that role really well.
Hey, you can't judge a book by its cover.
But maybe I'll find his
Niche.
No, his most highly rated film. Let's see what Letterboxd would consider his magnum opus to be.
And see if we know it.
Yeah, maybe we add that to the list, because you've taken a liking to this man.
I have. I don't know why.
Well, you asked me. You asked me which one of these stories I empathized and got the most.
Yeah.
For you, which one would you say you resonate? Which storyline resonated with you the most?
Probably the Kurt Henderson story. Just because that's how I feel like I would be in them situations. You know what I mean? Like, take it as it comes.
You don't watch Seinfeld, do you?
No.
It's a sitcom. I'm sure you're aware of it.
Yeah, I am.
It's about a man called Jerry Seinfeld who's a stand-up comedian, and he has a best friend called George Costanza. And George Costanza is just can't work out why everything in the world is against him. He's very like, for God's sakes, why is this happening today? To me, of all people. That's like George's stick. It's always Costanza. Like, if something goes wrong, it's Costanza.
Mm-hmm.
And he reminded me a lot of George Costanza.
Who could?
Yeah. Because he's very like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening now, like sort of thing. He was in disbelief at certain situations, and that I like it. It's a funny mannerism.
So what is his most...
So he starred in a film the same year that this film came out called Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid, which is a Western, and that's a very highly rated film.
At...
I'm looking at it on Letterboxd, and it's got an average of 3.8 out of 5.
And that's his high.
That's the highest rated film. Then, 87, he was in a film called The Untouchables, which Liam Cook has seen.
Okay.
And that was directed by Brian De Palma, who also directed Scarface and Mission Impossible. So that's a pretty big film. Then American Graffiti. Yeah, there's a few films here, but I shall possibly add Pat Garrett, Billy the Kid, and The Untouchables to our list because they look
cool.
Yeah, they look decent films.
What year did they come out?
So the Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid came out the same year as this, 73, and then The Untouchables came out in 87.
The Untouchables sounds fun.
I'll give you a brief synopsis.
Yeah, go on.
Just so we can.
Why not?
Maybe set up a future episode. Young Treasury agent Elliot Ness arrives in Chicago and is determined to take down Al Capone. But it's not going to be easy because Capone has the police in his pocket. Ness meets Jimmy Malone, a veteran patrolman and probably the most honorable one on the force. He asks Malone to help him get Capone, but Malone warns him that if he goes after Capone, he is going to war. Why the hell are there one character called Malone and the other one called Capone? That is ridiculous.
You said Malone and Capone so
Malone,
many
Capone, Malone.
Like, oh God,
Jesus Christ.
So yeah, The Untouchables.
So
Malone
maybe
and Capone.
you will see a future episode about Malone and Capone. But yeah, that's probably
Any closing thoughts, bro?
That's probably what we have to say about American Graffiti. My closing thoughts, I guess this film has got me thinking about going with your gut. Just go in for it. A lot of people in this film were kind of mulling over where to take their life. And at the end of the day, each one of them just had to go with their gut. Doesn't matter what you can talk a lot. This podcast's a testament to that.
Yeah, I know.
But at the end of the day, you're gonna do what you feel is right.
Of course.
So
I always have to.
I guess that would be my closing thoughts. They are my thoughts, and this is closing.
Good.
What are yours? Bet it's something to do with our social media pages.
No. Take every day
Don't say
Step.
at a time.
What?
Don't say take every day at a time.
No, take every day one step at a time.
Hannibal Buress has this joke, and he's like, I'm sick of people telling me to take it one day at a time. What have you been doing? A week at a time? 2 weeks at a time? It's bullshit, man. He's like, that's how I know someone's having a crisis. That's how I know someone's like...
They're taking a week at a time.
They're losing their shit when they come up to me and say, you just got to take it one day at a time, man. That's when I know... They're full of crap.
Crazy. You're crazy, man.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Yes, thank you very much.
Ignore us saying so much and check us out at mipltd.org for the website, Instagram, TikTok. We're ticking and we're talking. The Mystery School on Reddit. That's where you're going to find all the things that me and Martin are trying to bring to you nice people, along with film talk. There's going to be music and there's going to be things for you to watch and, hopefully read and all sorts of different sensual treats for you. So just keep them peeled.
Damn, you've come for a long time there, mate. Thank you for that.
I'm here for a long time.
That's right. Thank you for that. Hit us up in the comments if you've seen the film. Please like and share if you don't mind. And we'll see you on the other side.
We're going to play you out with our 24/7 Studios alumni Heart Source. And they're very much in line with the music that we've just seen in this film. They're sweet, sweet, smooth sounds of changes.
Fantastic.